Yo, what is up, everybody? Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for all the veterans that served for our country. We all really appreciate you. Here's a quick disclaimer, though. This is part 3 of our playoff prediction series. So if you've not seen parts 1 and 2, please click at the top right. You can click the iCards. I will be putting part 1 first and then part 2 after if you've already seen part 1. So please go watch parts 1 and 2 first, so you are all caught up with the predictions, the teams I have, and the wild card games. So let's get into the video. Yo, what's up, YouTube? Back with part 3 of the freaking playoff prediction videos. So this is Dan back with another video, and this is a quick warning. If you have not seen part 1 and part 2 of my playoff predictions, please go watch that right now, because I will be predicting the divisional round today, and I've already predicted my wild card. So please go watch that, or spoilers will be coming. So I'm here with Mike today. What's up?
What's going on?
And I'm going to be predicting my divisional round matchups. So these are going to be some interesting games. Definitely going to be some fun ones to watch if it actually happens, because we will be seeing revenge games. So, looking at my divisional rounds, in the AFC, I have the number 3 seed Titans playing at the number 2 seed Pittsburgh Steelers, and I have the number 5 seed Ravens playing at the number 1 seed Chiefs. So, the thing about these matchups is that both of these games are going to happen in the regular season, but they're in a different city. So the Steelers do play in Tennessee and the Chiefs do play in Baltimore. So rematch, but the home field advantage is different. So let's start with my 2 versus 3. So I have Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I do believe that the Titans probably will win the matchup week 4 against the Steelers in the regular season, because it is in Tennessee. And knowing that's going to happen, I cannot think Pittsburgh is going to lose twice to one team in the same season. Honestly, I cannot see it happening. But this specific matchup is so heavily favored towards Pittsburgh for this reason. Pittsburgh's defense is so good in the rush game. The rush defense is really good. And freaking Ryan Tannehill, if he can't throw the football and if Derrick Henry can't run the ball, it's game over. So if Derrick Henry's not having a good game, then the Titans aren't going to win. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Pittsburgh Steelers' rush defense is going to counter Derrick Henry. And that's basically all they need to do. Because Ryan Tannehill isn't the best QB in the league, and they don't have the best offensive weapons. It's still pretty good. But besides that, their offensive weapons are definitely going to get stopped by Joe Hayden, Minkah Fitzpatrick. So GG, the freaking Steelers defense, I believe, probably could win this game week 4 anyway. And I think it will win this game in the playoffs, because their defense is exactly what needs to happen, and it probably will. So, what are your opinions on this matchup?
So, if the Steelers really are the number 2 seed and the Titans have to come to Pittsburgh in the playoffs, I think the Steelers would win this matchup because it would favor them. It's a home game. The rush defense is strong. But if the Steelers are number 2 seed, then that means they probably traded Ben Roethlisberger and got Cam Newton, or like actual semi-decent quarterback to
That's
lead.
not even funny, so...
So that means that the Steelers are probably rolling on all cylinders for their 2 seed, especially if they won the division from the Ravens, and then they're probably going to be a good team. So is it realistic? I don't know. But would they beat the Titans in this scenario? I think that they would, so I think you're on point with that.
I do believe this is a very realistic scenario. So, Steelers are winning this matchup. So, the next AFC matchup is a good one. The number 5 seed Ravens at the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs. So I do believe the Chiefs are going to have the best record in the NFL next season. I mean, they didn't lose like 12 games straight. So they started 4-4, I believe. Finished 15-4, winning a Super Bowl. That's pretty good. Didn't lose all those games straight. And, they're the Chiefs. Their offense is so good. This game's in Arrowhead. So, this is going to be a really good matchup because this game is going to happen week 2 in Baltimore. I honestly think the Chiefs are going to win this game, no joke. And we've seen this game 2 straight years, last year and the year before that, where the Ravens played at the Chiefs, and Lamar Jackson did start both of these games. And it looked like the Ravens were going to win both of these games until, Patrick Mahomes had amazing comebacks at the end. So, like history repeats itself, I do believe this game is going to be a very close one. And I do believe the Ravens are going to have a slight edge at the end of the game. And do I believe the Chiefs are going to come back? Honestly, I don't think so. I think that Ravens are going to be supreme in this game and upset the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. I just feel like after winning the Super Bowl, winning it again, I mean, it's very probable, but I just feel like the Chiefs are going to choke in the playoffs. And I do believe the Ravens are going to be a top 5 team in the NFL next season. Honestly, I think they're going to be worse than the Chiefs, but I feel like they're going to clutch out this game against the Chiefs in the playoffs. That first round bye might hurt them, just like how it almost hurt them against the Texans last season. So I do believe that the Baltimore Ravens have one of the easiest schedules in the league and actually are going to fall short to the Steelers anyway. So I do believe they're going to have a really good record and they're going to be really good. So the 5th seed, even though they're the 5th seed, doesn't mean they're going to be bad. They're just going to fall a couple games short or lose a tiebreaker to the Steelers. And that's why I think they can beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and they are going to. I just feel like this is the only year they have that they're going to win it. Their defense is going to regress after this season, and Lamar Jackson's predictability is going to regress also. So, what are your opinions on this matchup?
Didn't you have the Chiefs as 16-0?
Yep.
So if they're 16-0, then they're probably OP, and I wouldn't that's a fair scenario. And what that means is that the Chiefs are rested. They had a bye from the wild card. And who did the Ravens beat to get there?
The Bills.
Yes. Where was that game at? Buffalo?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Ravens had to travel to cold Buffalo in February.
That's not even far from Baltimore.
All right, but they had to travel to cold Buffalo, play a game there, which is definitely a hard game for them to win. In my opinion, it would be. And then they had to travel to Kansas City, Arrowhead, one of the hardest stadiums to play at, where the Kansas City Chiefs fans really bring the noise, and everybody on the Chiefs' offense and defense would be extra well rested, as opposed to the Baltimore Ravens coming off of a tough win against the Bills. So I would give this slight nod to the Kansas City Chiefs, just because of the bye and the factor that they're going to be well rested. But if this game was like a wild card matchup, I would say, all right, maybe the Ravens could upset them. But since they had a bye, I'm going to give this one to the Chiefs.
All right, but the logic here is that when you say the Ravens have to go on the road, who cares? The Tennessee Titans went on the road in New England, the hardest place to play in the league, beat them, and then they went on the road once again the following week against the first round bye Baltimore Ravens, and they destroyed them. So I don't understand. That's bad logic in my opinion. And we saw this last year where the Chiefs divisional round, they had a bye wildcard weekend, and they were down by 24 points to the Texans. So if they don't get lucky like that game, they could easily get down early in the game and then lose because the Ravens aren't a bad team like the Texans. So that's why I have the Ravens winning against the Chiefs. So we will have a Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens AFC Championship game. Definitely one for the ages. So let's move on to the NFC. So I currently have the number 1 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the number 5 seed Saints, and the number 2 seed Seattle Seahawks playing the number 6 seed San Francisco 49ers. So I do believe, let's start with the 2 versus 6. So I do believe that these two teams are going to be really good next season, but I do believe that the Seattle Seahawks are going to be the better team. And I'm only saying this because, they have a really good offense, a really good defense, and the fact that the 49ers lost the Super Bowl demands an immediate regression. And I didn't even believe the 49ers offense was legit. And they did lose their running backs, which made it amazing. So which is why I do believe this team is going to regress. Their defense obviously is going to be scary good. But this game is going to be in Seattle. I do have Seattle winning the division. So I don't even think home field advantage really matters in this game in my opinion, because these teams play each other twice a year anyway. We did see the 49ers beat the Seahawks in Seattle, and we saw Seattle beat the 49ers in San Francisco. So home field advantage doesn't really matter. But at the same time, the Seahawks' home field advantage in the playoffs is crazy good for them. They don't lose at home in the playoffs, which is why I still believe the 49ers are going to lose this game, and the Seattle Seahawks are going to win divisional rounds against the San Francisco 49ers. So, Mike, what are your opinions on this game?
All right, so I think that the 49ers are going to take a step back this year, and I think that they're not going to be as good as they were previously in their Super Bowl run. I think their offense is going to be a lot worse without Emmanuel Sanders. He was a big piece on their offense. Matt Breida is gone, so we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, they're going to get Tevin Coleman back from injury. He should be healthy this year. I still think the 49ers are going to be 12-4 just because I think they have a pretty easy schedule-wise. They do have a really hard division, and I have all three teams in that division going 12-4 except for the Rams. But I think that the Cardinals, 49ers, and Seahawks are all going to split games with each other. So they're all going to be 1-1. So that means I think the 49ers are going to lose at the Seahawks in the regular season, and the 49ers will beat the Seahawks at home. So obviously they're going to have to travel to Seattle for this game, and I don't see how they could beat Seattle in the postseason in that kind of arena. I think Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf are going to continue their dominance, and I think as long as Seattle stays, as long as they don't have because I feel like Seattle sometimes has this theory where they just pound the run down everyone's throat with Chris Carson. And sometimes that works, but sometimes it doesn't. It gets them in closer games. So I think if Seattle has the mentality where let's go put up some points and they just dominate the ball in the air, I think that the Seahawks should be fine and win this game in Seattle.
All right, so we both agree on this pick. So the last divisional game of the playoffs is number 1 seed Tom Brady's Buccaneers hosting the number 5 seed New Orleans Saints. So I do have the Buccaneers with a 14-2 record, and I do have the New Orleans Saints with a 13-3 record, falling short one game to the Buccaneers. So, does this matchup, do you think the Saints can win this matchup? Honestly, I think they could. But let's talk about these teams. So we do know that the Buccaneers are going to have an amazing season.
Well, we don't know that, but...
We do. Because they do have one of the most talented offenses in the NFL. No doubt about it. They have a quarterback that doesn't throw 30 interceptions a game. And he's freaking, a cheater. But obviously they have one of the best tight ends ever, Rob Gronkowski. And the wide receiver group's so good. They got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, 2 all-star receivers in my opinion. So this offense is already stacked. I do believe they got a running back. I don't remember from where. Maybe the 49ers, will see. So this team already is good on offense. And their defense isn't bad, but it's not the best in the league. So if their defense steps up later in the season, it's going to be a Super Bowl team. And I believe their defense will step up. So this team's already cut out for a Super Bowl first season because Tom Brady doesn't even need to know who's on his team. He's just a cheater. So, the other team is New Orleans Saints. Obviously, Drew Brees, one of the best QBs ever. Michael Thomas, one of the best wide receivers in the league, top 3 in my opinion. They got Emmanuel Sanders. I bet he's going to have a great year because... Actually, he might not because Michael Thomas always gets freaking targeted 300 times a game, of course, according to Parker, but we'll see. Obviously, they got Alvin Kamara. They got friggin' Taysom Hill. He's a cheater. and they got Jared Cook. So you already know that offense is stacked, just like the Buccaneers.
Yeah, just so you know, their running backs, it's not much different than last year. They got rid of Peyton Barber, so Ronald Jones is technically the number one. And then the guy you're thinking of, they drafted in the third round. They drafted Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt.
So their running game's gonna suck, obviously, in Tampa Bay, but they should probably trade for like Leonard Fournette or something.
Maybe
Whatever.
Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, maybe he's garbage though. So both these teams' offense are basically stacked next season, like no doubt about it. And their defenses, the Saints probably got the slight edge in this game. So if you take that in consideration, I do believe the Saints overall are the better team. And this game is in Tampa Bay. No unfamiliar place for Drew Brees to play. No unfamiliar place for these Saints to win. Which is why, even though the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 1 seed, led by Tom Brady, I believe the New Orleans Saints are going to pull off the win in Tampa Bay and beat Tom Brady's Buccaneers. Are they overrated or underrated? We will see. But if this were a matchup, it doesn't even matter where home field advantage is, because I feel like the Saints offense is just going to outcompete the Buccaneers defense, and that's all that happens. And if the Buccaneers offense is slowed down at all in this game, then that is a big rip. So like I said, these two teams do play each other twice this season. Week 1 in New Orleans. Thought this game was a little cheap because, the Buccaneers are definitely not favored to win this game. I feel like this game should be in Tampa Bay. I do believe the Saints are going to win that one. And then in Week 7, they play in Tampa Bay. I do believe the Buccaneers are going to win that one. So I do believe the final outcome will be the Saints upsetting the Buccaneers divisional rounds. So, Mike, what is your opinion on this matchup?
I don't think the Saints are going to be good. Or
What?
I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be good. My bad. I think the Saints are going to dominate this team, regardless of where this game is. I don't see Tampa Bay's defense being good enough, or their run game being good enough if they get another guy in. So I see the Saints easily beating the Buccaneers.
All right, so that basically covers it all. So, recap, we got Pittsburgh Steelers, number 2 seed, hosting the number 5 seed Baltimore Ravens in Pittsburgh. Going to be a good matchup there. And then we have the number 2 seed Seattle Seahawks hosting the number 5 seed New Orleans Saints in Seattle. So, the next videos we will be posting is, of course, our conference championship and Super Bowl predictions. So, that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed.
My division predictions too.
Yeah, obviously, but hope you enjoyed the video. That's it. So, subscribe, hit that bell. Adios.